Let there be light, and there was light. Okay, so I'm following the guidance of Mother Eve right now. Of course, drawing on the light and drawing on revelation, the wonderful element of revelation, and waters for transparency in all presentations. So basically, when we call on these elements, we have more confidence to venture into wherever we go, because when we are with Mother Eve, we don't know exactly where the serpent is taking us. And so we just need to have that confidence and trust, because she is the said God, she is the spokesperson, she is the orchestrator, and she's the boa constrictor. Yes. So she's all of the above and the Christ spirit. So let's look at where Mother Eve is taking us in this further exploration about the squares, or having squares in your birth chart. Now, of course, there is so much more that I want to talk about, but this is like really almost personal in a sense, but I'm sharing this with you because it was my realization that I have so many squares in my birth chart. Now it's I have had birth charts done before, and of course it was about learning how to read them, or perhaps it hadn't been timely in my understanding of them. But in that format, how it was written, because I often hear about, oh, well, this is squared, or this, or a certain planet is squared with, or Venus is squares Mars, or, and so, of course, with that square, I do understand it's, and I googled that as well to find out that I was getting the right information. Is that when two planets are squared, they are in conflict, or there is a degree of conflict, which allows the individual to work with that conflicting element. Of course, when we do work through a conflict, we obviously learn something through it, and we grow through those conflicts. Now, I thought that I had 8 of those in my birth chart. As it happens, I have not only 8, I've got 9. So I was very intrigued about that. It's like never before I have looked at my birth chart, because they always seemed like they weren't very precise, the ones I had before. And of course, I had gone into meditation to really get my time of birth, because it is through meditation with Mother Eve as well that I got to understand my time of birth. So I had attained this, which is more information to get an accurate reading. So I'm excited about that, but also looking at the way this long list of information, which is representing my makeup, really shows that I not only have those 9 squares, I also have 9 sextiles in my birth chart. I find that very intriguing. I'm not sure that this is a common thing at all. Now, I remember many years ago, I had a reading done by Joanne. I think she does the Sacred Scrolls now on numerology or tarot. Yeah, it's the Royal Road to Tarot, or the Royal Tarot Road, or something to that effect. And I don't do those things often at all, because I feel that the main reading is really understanding who you are, is understanding your makeup, how you think. And it is in those thought processes, or the time that I have taken to understanding myself, that have now led me on to getting this natal chart done, and having this natal chart done, that I am now ready to understand or read its makeup. even better. So this is delicious, really. It is delicious. It's intriguing. So I'm intrigued about my own makeup right now. I'm intrigued about okay, I suppose the sextile bit is perhaps a little bit, I would say, easier to take. Well, they both make sense. They both make sense because I have had quite a extensive range of experiences that have been both conflicting and of course in the conflict and this that also reflects the sextiles in my makeup as well. I hope this is coming out okay. So I'm gonna call on Mother Eve, help me out here in what I really want to say. And so the conflicts, of course, have been quite a lot, which, of course, as I say, led me on to writing 2 volumes of my autobiography, which was The Crimson Light. It's called The Crimson Light. Let's just see if I've got... I do this occasionally. So it's the first volume, which is The Crimson Light, A Bridge to Actualizing Self-Full Love, and the second volume, which is Getting Onto the Bridge of Actualizing Self-Full Love. It's a long title, but I wanted to get the message across. And of course, what's a title when you have to read about hundreds of words? So hundreds of it's really so okay. So squares. All right, this is every time Mother Eve gives me like a new task, I would say, because I was really asking Mother Eve, well, what does the square represent? And of course, because I initially felt that there were 8 squares, I was asking Mother Eve about the number 8 in comparison to the squares. And of course, the answer was that the squares were really coinciding the list. Wow. The list of lettings. So we have 8 lettings, and this is what got me intrigued with really wanting to know more about the number 8 right here, because this is where it is like, let us make man in our image after our likeness. That's where Mother Eve was talking about the number 8, and Mother Eve has also been talking about 8 as in the 8th dimension, which is also the 5th dimension. So I might have spoken about this before. This is, we could see this, basically the mouth is the dimension right here. The mouth, the word mouth equals 5, which is 5 here. And of course the 8th, when we look at 8, it's really it represents, 8 represents that the tongue as well. It represents the tongue in the sense that although the word tongue equals 10, but we have seen how as the muscle of the double-edged sword that it is, we could say that it was half or 4 representing the heavens and 4 representing the earth. Or we could say that blue as representing the heavens and green representing the earth. So when we did that in that way, we had blue equals 31 and earth, which is green, equals blue is 13 and earth is 31. So of course they mirror each other in that sense. And then we could also say that of course each is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. There is another thing that we see, how we've got 8 here, because the word eat, as in eating of something, it equals 8. And of course we do it with our mouth, and it's like 8 again represents the whole. as we have seen here with like the mouth, the M or the 3, or all of those letters which I have done, I have just completed in one of the presentations. That is the 8-petal flower. So basically the square in this sense, although it has the square, so a square is actually of four points. Okay, this is more like a rectangle, but it has 4 points. And the other thing, how we could also make sense of 8 as even if it were 4, is when we do write the word 8, EIGHT. So we have 2, 8, 7, 9, 5. When we add this together, this is 10, 17, 18, 19, 26, and this would be 31. 3 plus 1 equals 4. So there we see 8 as 31, as we say right here, is showing us that 8 is not just like the number 8, but it's representing the whole in the sense that it becomes your north, your south, your east, and your west. So that is the whole. This is the square right here as well. So we are looking at it here as a 2D, but this is the whole that we are. Of course, another thing that I have said, made clear, when we look at 4, we are also looking at the 4 points here, because we have 5-pointed star, but we are looking at the aspect like when Christ was crucified. This is the Kundalini right here. So the the 2 feet that would normally be apart is now lapped over. This is where the nail was, a nail here and a nail here, of course. So that's what we are talking about. So we are having of the fruit, and Mother Eve eating of the fruit was a way of showing total submission, the wholeness, coming into complete circle. This is where the serpent also has had it's about head and tail for the serpent. HEAD equals, this is 8, 5, 1, 1, 4, and adding this together, this is 18. So this is 9 here. When we look at the word tail, it's getting your head and tail together. I'm just putting it this way. I think tail is 10, but let's look at this. This is 3, 3, 9, 1, 2. Okay, 10, 13, 14, 15. So 15 is 6. Of course, head and tail is what Mother Eve wants us to get together, doing the circle. So this is 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. Head plus tail is that what Mother Eve really wants us to get to, because then that really shows that we have gained that 6. Now, the 6 is where, of course, if we did the word 6, we know it gives us 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. But the said God, the word said, because Mother Eve is the said God. When we get our head and our tail, we have done this cycle, we have gained a trophy of 6. We have come to recognize that we are 6. We have been conscious about what we are, which is the said God, which is 1. That's why she's there to really aid us. She, in that said, in her name, it shows that she is willing to aid us. And that's 1, 9, 4. When we add this together, this is 14, 1, 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. So the said God is ready to aid us to accomplish getting our head and tail together. This is what the serpent does, and to form full circle. So this is the head. Okay. So this is the head, and it's got, okay. and the tail is in the head. Okay, so full circle. All right, I hope that you have got this. And basically we are meant to be doing our or achieving the three rounds of this. That's what the sextile, not sextile, the squares mean. The squares are really of these three sections, and I'm going to double check on the three sections, but it also could be on because we have done on the Latins, it could be that 4 as in the 4 square, but 3, there's another thing with 3. The word 3 equals 2 anyway, so 2 is 4. So let's look at that. So now I'm talking about the three sets of cycle hair. So to really draw this very closer, when we do the word 3, THREE, we have 2, 8, 9, 5, 5. Adding this together, that's 19, and that is 10, that is 29. 2 plus 9 is 11. Of course, if we did 11, that would give us 9. That would give us the number 9, and then it would take us back into 6 anyway. So let's just do this for, in case you are new to this. Again, Mother Eve is making her presence felt right here in the word 11. This is 3, 5, 4, 5, 5. Again, this is 10, 15, 20, 27. Here, 27, 2 plus 7 is 9. And when we do the numerical value for the word 9, this is 5, 5, 9, 5. This is 15, 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. And that's what Mother Eve takes us back onto that 6. And 6, of course, if we continue to do the word 6, for instance, 1, 6, this would be 1, 9, 4. Sorry, 1, 9, 6. This is 15, 16. 1 plus 6 equals 7. Now let's see how what we do here with 7. SEVEN. It works like long division, but it works. 5, and there's another way of seeing that it works. So this is 15, 20, 15. This is 20, so this is 2. Now remember, this is where we started with. When I said as well, when I said that with 3 gives us 2. This is where we began with the number 3, and 3 gives us 2. But when we did 3, we had 11. We got the number 11. And basically, of course, when we had 11, we could just add 1 plus 1. This would give us 2. And 2 here, of course, this is the quickest way of all what we have done, but it shows that it works, how it works. So 2 here, 5, 6. When we add this together, that gives us 11, 12, 13. 13 is 4. This is now 13 is 4, and that's what we are talking about, the cycles that we are meant to really overcome. So in this cycle here, we see that we have a 13 here, which consists of the bag, or the sack rather. And in this cycle, this is where we, in fact, we really should have no business being in the sack anymore for most of us, moving into that 5th and 8th dimension. So we would have worked out our reef and go to headquarters zone, pay that inland revenue. This is where Mother Eve, of course, is really saying to us, I know that you have gone through the reef of all the addictions or whatever it is, because she is showing us how to swallow that red pill, so to speak. She is showing us how to eat whatever it is whole, and get that balance, get the God's balance in our makeup, because we are now getting ready to take on the legacy of what she is being passed on to us, where she now says unto us, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So we are the ones Mother Eve is really saying to right now, let us make man in our image after our likeness. She wants to ensure that we are equipped enough to be able to do that. We have to go to the Inland Revenue to this is where we get our registration done. However you want to look at this, we get our registration done, and she shows us with the Inland Revenue headquarters zone and hair as the number 9. This is where the Inland Revenue is. She's got this E here to let us know that I am with you. No matter where, I am with you till the end, because that's what Mother Eve is about, end. When we do the numerical value for the word end, E-N-D, this is 554, this is 14. 14, 1 plus 4 is 5. And that is Mother Eve. Of course, when we do EVE, we are talking about the same thing. This is 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. So this is Mother Eve, and even as the said God, may I just remind you that the word said, S-A-I-D, equals 15, which is 6, 1, and she's here to aid us, 1, 1, 9, 4. Adding this together, this is also 15. But, and there we have, this is 10, 14, 15. So 15, of course, but to show you that when she comes as 5, which is equals the snake, the word 5, F-I-V-E, is 5, 4, 9, 6. Adding this together, 15, 20, 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. So we are still dealing with the said God right there. This is what Mother Eve is about, showing us how to do this. She's getting us ready to understand that it is important that we overcome those squares that are in our natal chart. Each square we overcome in our natal chart is really overcoming or proving our competence to running the business of the let us make man in our image after our likeness. Let us make man in our image after our likeness. That would be the after of what we have learned, how to overcome the challenges in that birth chart, whether it was Mars squared Pluto, whatever it was, however we want to read those elements of conflict that we overcome in our lives. And I have 9 of those. So I think Mother Eve revealing this to me right now is saying that you have done well, you have overcome. I need to understand whether I've overcome all 9 squares in my birth chart, but which equals actually, so it's really 9. It's almost as if that I had the maximum of squares given to any human being. It'd be interesting to know if anyone else has up to 9 squares in their birth chart, or if they have more. It would be interesting. Please leave your comments and let me know. Just curious. Thank you. Of course, I have discovered Steve Jobs as well has 9. I thought I had 8, but I have the same amount of Steve Jobs, the founder of the Apple Mac laptops. Okay. Thank you. And as I say, I hope this makes sense, and let there be light, and there was light.